so often taken an interest in new technology. But where I first heard of it was I was with my family in Paris in the middle of the swine flu epidemic. Mm-hmm. And one thing that we've learned, maybe from all of the information that we've had lately, is that different countries behave in different ways.
Yes.
At these times. So in Britain, I think at that time of the swine flu crisis, mm-hmm. most of the resources seemed to go into antivirals. Mm-hmm. But in France, the health minister took a different decision.
Of course, there are different ways to do this. And Elfie, I really want your take in a moment on the question of prioritising different groups. Of course, policy broadly in the UK has been to prioritise older people. Of course, there's frontline workers, healthcare professionals, and so on. But I want your take on what you make of that. If I can come back to you, so just stay on the line, Elfie. I'll come back to you in a second.
Okay,
I want to speak to Jack in London. Jack, welcome to the Night Shift. When it comes to priorities and who's getting the vaccination, do you have a particular take on this? And I guess a lot of this is about who is being affected. And, you know, one answer to that is, well, we're all being affected, aren't we? What do you make of that, Jack?
Hi, Marvin. First time with you, at least. Mm-hmm. No, doting a little bit. But I suppose really today's my younger daughter's 38th birthday. I'm 68.
Wow. Okay. Happy birthday to you.
Well, you've had people much older than me on this evening, and so I really want to say this, that we're often the way we are in the people of Britain. We're slice and diced. We kind of like we're kind of by age and class and gender and everything else and sexuality. And it's right now what came to me this evening as I was with my daughter here in London. Mm-hmm. Talking to my daughter in Montreal.
Right. Jack, if I can just ask you, if I could just bring it back to the idea of...
I can almost certainly fly in 2 or 3 months from now, when I've had my vax and everything.
Oh, then you'll be able to go abroad. Jack, if I can bring it back to this idea of prioritising particular groups. You're in your 60s, if I'm not mistaken. You said your daughter is 38.
Nearly 70.
Nearly 70. Have you been affected in very different ways? And do you think you are, if you're nearly 70, then you're not eligible at the moment unless you're shielding or in a particular group. But I imagine if the rollout continues, you will be eligible for the vaccine probably sooner than your daughter. Do you think that's fair and right?
Well, I was so scared last week, and I had to immediately go and get tested because I had a horrendous sore throat with my temperature going up.
And what were your results?
9 days ago. And got a test. Amazingly, I got the result. I was told I had it on Wednesday morning, and I was told I would have it on probably on
And was
Friday,
it a negative result?
Saturday. I got it at 6:01 on Thursday morning.
Was it negative?
Sorry?
Was it a negative result?
Negative. No. Negative.
It was negative. Jack, I'm very glad to hear that, and please do look after yourself and keep safe. Elfie, I want to go back to you. This question of different groups being prioritised. Do you think the rollout right now is working, and is it fair and just?
I have a stronger feeling about how the vaccine ought to be administered, which is not so much about what order it's in as whether everybody gets, if we're talking about the Pfizer vaccine. So I have a strong feeling that that the vaccine should be given as the people who created it intended it to be given, which is within the second one, within 3 weeks of the first one.
So you're referencing this idea that you don't get the full level of immunity until you have the second dose. But of course, there's been a very public discussion about the fact that you do get a level of immunity just having.
Looked into it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, of course not.
Having looked into it quite was first.
Что пока автомобиль и амортизаторы с шинами не прогрелись, никуда не торопимся. Есть и еще одна опасность управления машиной при низких температурах. И эта опасность – шапки, верхняя одежда и перчатки.
Автокультура автомании.
Все-таки, садясь в автомобиль, верхнюю одежду лучше снять, поскольку она сильно стесняет ваши действия, а, например, большая шапка-ушанка или надвинутый капюшон существенно сужают поле зрения пилота. Меховые перчатки и тем более варежки делают контакт с рулевым колесом очень ненадежным, что может вызвать проблемы при попытке активного маневрирования. Так что лучше прогреть автомобиль заранее или немного померзнуть в начале, но зато всегда находиться в готовности ответить на вызовы недружелюбного внешнего мира. И, конечно, не забываем о том, что до начала движения необходимо тщательно очистить стекла вашего автомобиля от снега и льда, поскольку хорошая обзорность, если и не гарантирует вашу безопасность, то хотя бы дает вам возможность видеть, что происходит вокруг.
Автопульс.
Сегодня нам стоит относиться очень серьезно к своему здоровью и заботиться о тех, кто рядом. Очень важно помнить о простых правилах, которые надо соблюдать, чтобы не допустить распространения коронавирусной инфекции. Обязательно используем маски и перчатки, когда приходим в магазин, едем на общественном транспорте. Одним словом, в любом закрытом пространстве, где много людей. Пользуемся антисептиками и моем руки. И при первых симптомах обращаемся к врачу. Пожалуйста, помните об этом и берегите себя и близких. Всего доброго.
Это была программа «Автомания».
Радио «Эхо Москвы».
Часов в Москве, в студии Александр Климов, информационная программа «Эхо». В преддверии несогласованной акции в поддержку Алексея Навального 23 января полиция задерживает соратников оппозиционного политика. Европарламент призвал страны ЕС ввести санкции против России и остановить строительство газопровода «Северный поток-2». А ЕСПЧ постановил, что Россия не несет ответственности за события во время нападения грузинских военных в Южной Осетии и Абхазии в 2008 году.
Вы слушаете информационную программу «Эхо».
В преддверии несогласованной акции в поддержку Алексея Навального, анонсированной на 23 января, полиция задерживает соратников оппозиционного политика. Так, накануне силовики пришли домой к пресс-секретарю Навального Кире Ярмыш. Как рассказала «Эхо Москвы» сама Ярмыш, полицейские пытались попасть в ее квартиру с самого утра.
Она здесь караулила меня с самого утра. Они сначала постучались ко мне 12 дня и сказали, что хотят просто познакомиться. Потом чуть позже попросили у меня, не открою ли я им дверь, потому что они хотят вручить мне какое-то застережение по поводу митинга. В итоге я им так и не открыла, и они остались караулить меня под дверью. Потом наконец активизировались, людей стало много больше. Они сказали, что будут ломать мне двери, если я не открою. Сказали прекрасные вещи о том, что в любом случае они меня задержат. Все равно на митинг я не дойду, поэтому какая разница? Зачем тратить ваше и наше время? Просто откройте и все.
После того, как к ней пришла адвокат, Ярмыш задержали и доставили в отдел полиции для составления протокола за призывы к акции 23 января. В итоге Ярмыша оставили в отделении на ночь до суда. По тому же обвинению задержана и юрист ФБК Любовь Соболь. Об этом «Эхо Москвы» рассказал адвокат Владимир Воронин.
Рядом с ее домом стояла машина полиции и, собственно, крутилось достаточно большое количество полицейских. Я подъехал, сели в мой автомобиль. Дальше мой автомобиль заблокировали сначала какие-то люди в штатском, которые нам не представились. После этого подъехала машина полиции и тоже заблокировала мой автомобиль. Из автомобиля вышло несколько тоже сотрудников полиции, несколько сотрудников в штатском. Сначала Любу просили проехать в УВД для установления личности. Она через стекло показала паспорт, ее личность установили. После этого начали говорить, что ее задерживают за призывы на несанкционированные митинги.
На Ленинградском вокзале задержали сотрудников ФБК Георгия Албурова. Как рассказал адвокат, за призывы к участию в несанкционированной акции в поддержку Алексея Навального, еще одному задержанному вчера Владлену Лосю, гражданину Беларуси, по его словам, предписали покинуть Россию до 25 января с последующим запретом на въезд на 2,5 года. В ОВД к Лосю приехал адвокат апологии протеста Мансур Гильманов, но там, по его словам, он столкнулся с насилием со стороны полицейских.
Буквально вот на подходе к дежурной части прибежал сотрудник, сбил меня с ног и положил лицом в пол, и еще пнул несколько раз меня. И без предупреждения. В общем, я пролежал на полу примерно 20 минут. Дело в том, что то, что мне сотрудник полиции, дежурный, не разрешил пройти к дежурной части, написать заявление, это записано. И тем более мне тут также сказал сотрудник на какой заявление хотел писать по поводу незаконного задержания Владлена Лося. Поскольку срок задержания уже истек, 3-часовой, его должны были уже отпустить. Никаких протоколов не составлено в отношении него.
Лось также провел эту ночь в полиции. Также полицейские приходили накануне к координатору московского штаба Навального Олегу Степанову, но его не было дома. Вообще 20 и 21 января полиция устроила массовый поквартирный обход сторонников Навального, сотрудников ФБК и журналистов. Всего, по данным прокуратуры Москвы, предупреждение о незаконности предстоящей акции вынесли в отношении 28 человек. Напомню, также ФБК власти считают иностранным агентом. Политтехнолог Владимир Пастухов считает призывы Алексея Навального выходить на несанкционированные митинги небезопасными для тех, кто решит в них принять участие. Такое мнение он высказал в эфире «Эхо Москвы». Действия оппозиционного политика, по его мнению, способствует разобщению людей.
Мы оказались в ситуации, когда человек сделал свой выбор и поставил свою жизнь на кон, но одновременно мы понимаем, что прозвучавший призыв выйти всем на улицу, он имеет такую двойственную нравственную природу, потому что я имею право жертвовать своей жизнью сколько угодно, потому что это моя жизнь, и я распоряжаюсь. Но имею ли я право подставлять другие жизни под очевидный удар? Совершенно понятно, что произойдет. Революция не случится, а самое главное, что к ней никто не готовится. Потому что это не ленинский призыв к революционному восстанию. Ленин не призывал выйти на улицы. Ленин призывал брать зиму и был к этому готов.
Писатель Виктор Шендерович считает, что россияне не привыкли открыто выражать свой протест даже в случае крайней несправедливости.
Говорить о поддержке Путина не приходится. Я думаю, что то, что Путин вор, понимают все. То, что он убийца, я думаю, понимают очень многие. Но это никак не коррелирует с нашей национальной традицией пережидать любую власть. Что про Батыя не знали, что про Дзержинского не знали, про ВЧК кто-нибудь что-нибудь не знал, про Сталина. Все знали. Нету традиций, нету механизмов. Эти механизмы только-только начали создаваться в 90-х годах. Механизм лежания у сапога, механизм молчания, механизм пережидания, отношение к государству как оккупационной армии, а партизан всегда меньшинство, а большинство всегда просто живет при любой оккупации.
Виктор Шендерович считает, что ментальность народа можно изменить, и в исторической перспективе этим успешно занимается Алексей Навальный.
Вы слушаете информационную программу «Эхо».
Европарламент призвал страны ЕС ввести санкции против России, остановить строительство газопровода «Северный поток-2». Это должно стать ответом на задержание политика Алексея Навального. Европарламент также призвал немедленно освободить Навального и всех людей, которых задержали в связи с возвращением политика в Россию с 17 января. Ранее официальный представитель МИД России Мария Захарова говорила, что новыми санкциями против газопровода «Северный поток-2» Соединенные Штаты в очередной раз продемонстрировали пренебрежение нормами добросовестной конкуренции.
Угрозы применения дискриминационных инициатив уже давно вызывают возмущение не только в России, но и в официальных деловых общественных кругах большинства европейских столиц, а это и Берлин, и Париж, и Вена. Там везде продолжают задаваться вопросом, почему энергетическая политика еврорегиона должна регулироваться в Вашингтоне, каким образом повышение расходов на поставки газа может способствовать повышению конкурентоспособности и даже развивать демократические институты. Враждебные действия в отношении участников строительства Северного потока подтверждают, что Соединенные Штаты Америки преследуют собственные энергетические интересы, всеми правдами и неправдами хотят закрепиться в Старом Свете в качестве основного поставщика.
Ранее соратник Навального Владимир Ашурков опубликовал список людей, против которых, по его словам, сам оппозиционный политик предлагает ввести санкции. Это миллиардеры Алишер Усманов и Роман Абрамович, телеведущий Владимир Соловьев, министр сельского хозяйства, сын главы Совбеза Николая Патрушева Дмитрий Патрушев, председатель ВЭБ Игорь Шувалов, глава ВТБ Андрей Костин, замглавы ВТБ, сын директора ФСБ Александр Бортников Денис Бортников и глава Минздрава Михаил Мурашко. Европейский суд по правам человека счел, что Россия не несет ответственности за события, произошедшие во время отражения нападения грузинских военных в Южной Осетии и Абхазии в 2008 году. Это решение оставляет беззащитными жертв конфликта, пострадавших в период с 8 по 12 августа. Такое мнение в интервью «Эху» высказал юрист правозащитной группы «Агора» Кирилл Каратеев.
Европейский суд провел достаточно искусственное разделение по дате 12 августа. Суд сказал, что с 8 по 12 августа за территорию, поэтому суд не может решить, кто же несет ответственность за те или иные города и поселки в Южной Осетии. За период с 8 по 12 августа Европейский суд фактически оставил жертв без защиты. Что касается периода с 12 августа, Европейский суд признал, что Россия несет ответственность за Южную Осетию и так называемую буферную зону.
По словам Каратеева, некоторые нарушения продолжаются до сих пор. Многие местные жители до сих пор не могут вернуться в свои дома. В Москве сейчас -8, днем около нуля, местами небольшие осадки. Александр Климов, служба информации «Эхо Москвы».
«Эхо Москвы». Свидетельство о регистрации СМИ.
That's why the impeachment process against Richard Nixon ended when he resigned from office. So here is how this is probably going to go down, my guess. The articles will be submitted at some point to the Senate. Now there will be an opportunity for the president's attorneys to respond at some point. When they're getting ready, there will be an early motion to dismiss. Now, I would hope that Republicans will dismiss with an early motion, and hopefully a couple of intelligent, rational Democrats, if there are any. If there are not enough votes, yes, the Senate trial would be conducted. The former president will be acquitted, and he will be eligible to run again if he chooses. At this point, a Senate trial serves absolutely no purpose but to inflame the tensions of this country. It's the swamp theater, and it's at its worst. The question this country should be asking tonight, well, Mr. Unity, Mr. Frail, weak, cognitively struggling Joe, I know probably this program is on past your bedtime. Maybe you will consider standing up to the radicalism in your own party and put an end to the charade right now. In other words, throw meaning behind the lectures of unity that you were throwing out yesterday. I doubt that'll happen. Joe and his fellow Democrats don't seem to care about unity. All they want is revenge. 4 years, never-ending, attack, and they didn't care or give a flip about what this did to the country. They now want to send a message to 75 million Trump voters who they despise. They think they're all racist and sexist and Nazis and domestic terrorists and insurrectionists. No, conservatives are not. But don't worry, America, the barely functioning career politician in the Oval Office, likely in the residence at this hour, knows what's best for you. And by the way, today was Joe Biden's first full day on the job, and he's already begging for a break. Apparently, only one serious question from a reporter was a little too much for him to handle. Yep, the new president gave us his first official, come on, man, you a junkie? Remember that? Take a look.
Is that China? Shouldn't you set far higher? That's basically where the U.S. is right now.
When I announced it, you all said it's not possible. Come on, give me a break, man.
Come on, you guys.
Good start. 100 minutes. Thank you.
Common phrase. Come on, give me a break, man. Come on, man. You a junkie? That was the only question Biden took, and of course, he had no answer. After months of blaming President Trump for each and every COVID death, the Biden administration's bold new coronavirus plan is basically continue the course laid out by Donald Trump. By the way, former Secretary of Health and Human Services, Azar, said, yeah, we already had the whole plan down for 100 million doses. That's already happened. Anyway, after all, multiple vaccines have already been developed in record time. That was Operation Warp Speed Donald Trump. A massive distribution plan is already in place. Governors need to get up to speed, especially Democratic governors. Nearly 500,000 people each day are getting the vaccine. One of the only new Biden policies is this restrictive mask mandate on federal properties. I wonder if it'll apply to illegal immigrants. Doubtful. Shortly after implementing this mandate, Biden took a trip to the Lincoln Memorial where he posed for pictures. He didn't have a mask on. His own mandate. Earlier today, our own Peter Doocy asked Biden Press Secretary Jen Psaki about the double standard. Needless to say, she wasn't prepared to answer one mildly tough question from a serious member of the press. And by the way, Jen, you might want to learn his name. We'll help you. We'll remind you every day. His name is Peter Doocy. He'll probably be one of the few people in the room that you'll hate answering questions for every day. He'll do his job. Others will not. Take a look.
Why weren't President Biden and all members of the Biden family masked?
The morning when we go.
It was because his appointments were cancelled multiple times, because they were prioritising new patients over return patients to the clinic, because these other patients were going to breach the waiting time guarantee. So the people that had the illness were bumped back further down the list. So his appointment was cancelled multiple times. He had a subphrenic abscess, and when they got him into hospital, they drained 2 litres of pus in 24 hours. And so they had to end up being multi-organ failure and sepsis, and they turned his life support machine off after 2.5 weeks.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Catherine. I really am. I think this conversation is really important because we started off talking about vaccines and prioritising people, and the fact of the matter is, whether it's vaccines or, as you say, whether it's access to specialists, it always comes down to the fact, and the fact is there's always going to be a limit to resources. There's always going to be that, and so there's always this issue of prioritizing different people. And Catherine, I'm so pleased you shared your story, and I just wish you all the best. I really, really do, and I really hope that the rollout of the vaccine, and I know the rollout of the vaccine, will eventually, of course, contribute to there being less pressure on the NHS, and that will have a really positive effect on all of us and people like yourself who have other conditions. Catherine, I really wish you the best. I want to go to Dan in a second, but can I go to Julia in London right now? Julia, welcome to the night shift. What do you make of how the vaccine has been rolled out?
I'm not worried about safety of the vaccine. I had my first jab yesterday, actually. I was quite enthusiastic about it, but then the government, against all the recommendations by the manufacturers, instead of doing the second jab after 21 days, is really, really irresponsible, and I feel quite cheated in one way, because also according to what's happening in Israel and the pressure that some virologists, a group of virologists and epidemiologists are putting on the government, they're saying the efficacy and the strength of the vaccine is weakened to something like 33% for the first jab. Mm-hmm. So, and also Pfizer now is slowing down the production of this vaccine because they have some problems and everything. So I'm wondering, in 12 weeks, and also in the meantime, considering that we are not sure about the vaccine in the sense that I could still be contagious, be okay, safe myself, but I could spread it to other people. We are not sure about this according to what the doctors
Julia,
say.
if I could just focus in on the point you made about you feeling cheated, and I understand that you feel cheated because you're not going to have the
I'm not going to
second
have
dose.
it within 21 days.
Within 21 days, of course.
If,
What I want to ask you is, do you think the fact that you know that the reason you can't have that is not through anyone's personal choice, it's because there are issues with not having an unlimited supply and not having unlimited resources in terms of getting that vaccine out? So that second dose that you would have had in 3 weeks.
I think because there is also I had a Pfizer vaccine, but there is also the AstraZeneca vaccine, of which the government has got, as far as I know, 100 million. They've ordered 100 million, whatever.
Right. I don't know
So
the exact numbers.
wouldn't to be safer and more scientifically based to have enough the Pfizer vaccine to have the complete session, the complete 2 jabs for the number of people that they have vaccines, instead of giving one dose, one jab.
Yeah, you want both doses. I hear that. Julia, just if you could stick with me for a second, stay on the line. I want to bring Diane in from Norfolk. Diane, welcome to the night shift. How are you doing?
Well, I'm okay, apart from the fact I haven't been able to sleep tonight because I've been so upset, because I was told today, because I carry an EpiPen, because I'm allergic to wasp stings, I can't have the Pfizer jab, which is being offered in Cromer in Norfolk, and the Oxford vaccine will not be available in Norfolk, well, certainly not in Cromer, for the next 6 months.
Oh, Diane, I'm really sorry to hear that. So I guess this is related to the fact that there were a small number of people who had pre-existing allergies who responded badly to the Pfizer jab, and so there was this idea.
I am allergic to penicillin, but I don't think penicillin is the issue. The issue, from what I could gather, from what I heard from the doctor today, the issue is the allergy to wasp things. The receptionist made me hold on while she went to speak to one of the doctors in the practice, and this is what she said: if I agreed to the Pfizer one, I would have to have it at my own risk. And I said, well, I would take 2 EpiPens with me, and I don't think that went down very well. And she said, well, you'd have to sit for at least half an hour afterwards for safety. And this isn't being done in a hospital. This is being done in a leisure centre in North Walsham.
Of course, there's many places, including cinemas and mosques, that are being used for the rollout.
If it was being done in a hospital environment, I might be happy to take the risk, but certainly not in a leisure centre where there wouldn't be a backup like there would be in a hospital. So it looks as if I'm going to have to shield. I've been shielding now for nearly a year, for another 6 months.
Dan, I'm really sorry to hear that. You referenced the Oxford vaccine. Did the doctor say there'd be a difference with that? And how long is that going to take to get?
I didn't speak to her personally. This was all the receptionist made me hold on while she went to speak to the doctor. But my doctor should be ringing me next week to discuss this. But yes, the Oxford vaccine apparently I can have, but not the Pfizer.
Okay, so you can't have the Pfizer vaccine, you can have the Oxford vaccine. Diane, firstly, I would really like you to keep in touch with us and let us know next week if you can get that vaccine. I think that would be a brilliant thing if that works out.
Well, I won't get the vaccine next week. I mean, it will be about 6 months, the Oxford one. But my doctor should be ringing me next week, or he might even ring tomorrow, hopefully, to discuss this. But there's no way I am going to. I mean, I haven't sort of kept myself safe for a year to have an injection that's going to kill me.
Of course, and Dan, your safety absolutely comes first. I've got a question for you and for Julia here. I completely appreciate that in an ideal scenario, all of us are at a time now where we are really tired of the constant grind and the constant limitations on what we can do. So in an ideal situation, Diane, you would have a vaccine that is safe for you and you'd have it tomorrow. Julia, you would have
absolutely.
the second dose within 3 weeks. But Dan, if I can just...
You couldn't have it, so this is why I've checked with the doctor.
Of course.
No,
If I can just ask you, Dan, and this is a question for both of you, do you see that this is ultimately a question of resources, though? Because the fact is we just haven't got the resources to give everyone the appropriate vaccine right now, and we'd all want it, as soon as possible. Do you see that, Dan?
Yes.
No, I don't think it's a matter of resources. I think it's a matter of using the resources in an intelligent way, because what is the point? I mean, people who've had the Pfizer like me, they run the risk not to have the second jab in even 3 months, because the thing is not organized according to the science. This is the other thing that I'm fed up with the government saying we follow the science, when the science is actually saying you should do the second jab on the 21st after 21 days. In other countries, they're doing the same thing. They say maximum like 5 weeks for the second jab.
That's true, Julia. I do have to say, though, and you know this because you said it earlier, that you do have a degree of protection after the first jab. And so, you're in a better position than many people. I completely appreciate your frustration.
Initially, they said it was going to be 50% protection with the first jab. And now, with the campaign they've done in Israel, all the vaccination they've done apparently is 33%.
Yeah.
So if after 3 months we can't have the next jab, okay, what is the point of having wasted part of this vaccine?
Well, you won't have wasted it. No, Julia, you won't have wasted it, because you will have a degree of protection. And poor Diane, she hasn't even had the first one yet. So, so that is a good thing.
I'm quite happy to have the first Oxford one and wait for the second.
There you go. Diane and Julia, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. I wanna run over to Blackpool now, St Anne's near Blackpool. We've got Stephen on the line. We've been talking about pets and your animal stories. Stephen, tell me about your lovely, is it guinea pigs?
Good morning. It's morning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's morning.
Well, it's funny really, they're not mine. I've got a friend that lives around corner property, right? She's a big animal lover. She's got dogs, cats, and her cats have kittens. And she's having some building work done. Now, just before November, she was looking for somewhere and someone to look after her guinea pigs. So I thought that. I didn't think anything of it. And I saw them. I said, well, tell you what. I said, bring them round, man. She lives literally just round the corner from me. I said, bring them round, man, and look after them for a bit. Anyway, one thing led to another. This building work was
You see where this is going.
The cat had kittens. So I've still got them, and she's had to lock down. So I've ended up with these 2 guinea pigs. Now at first I thought, it's going to be really boring, these things. But I tell you what, I'm not giving them back. I told her that. She said, you're not having them back. They really cheer me up. I'll tell you why. I've called them Ronnie and Reggie.
So they're gangster guinea pigs. What do they do? Are they very active? What do they actually do?
Right, I'm looking at them now, right? They've just wrecked. They've got a huge cage. It's nearly the size of my radiators. It's like big for them. And they're really big guinea pigs. And I let them out on the floor. And I give them a cushion and they watch the TV.
But is there anything in particular they like watching?
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you now. This really happens. I work nights anyway, but I'm off work now for a bit, so it's like husband's holiday to me, they're staying up. And, oh, by the way, every time I chop something in the kitchen, they go, I can't believe they make this noise, because they can hear chopping, and it's usually Ronnie, the mad one.
What, so does Ronnie think he's going to get fed?
Well, every time, they hear me chopping the carrots and the cucumbers for them anyway, and they feed them, twice a day, and what have you. Whenever you see I'm in there peeling some potatoes or chopping my own vegetables, they think it's for them. And he really aggressively comes up with the case as much as it's for me. That's all the time. What I was saying about what happened was, I was watching the TV one evening, and I took them out, and I've got this old cushion that I put down, and I sit and they watch the TV. Right? And I was flicking through, and I was messing about. I was doing some paperwork and what have you. And there was a programme on, one of these programmes about animals in the wild and this that and the other. And I think it was Richard Attenborough.
Oh, it must have been the Perfect Planet thing.
These guinea pigs come on, and Ronnie tried to, this is a guinea pig, tried to, I mean, the telly's quite high up, was trying to jump up at the other guinea pig on the TV.
So maybe there was some attraction there.
It is.
Have they, in all seriousness, have Ronnie and Reggie, it sounds like you're having a really good time with them. It sounds like they're having a really good time with you as well. Have they helped you through lockdown?
My phone's in, this is my old phone, you know, an old, good old draw phone. My phone's been fixed. And I've got a few, I've actually filmed it, and I'm going to get them on YouTube. Because not only that, my next door neighbour's got a cat. Now, where I am now, the curtain's shut now, I've got sliding doors that go out onto a small garden. It's a flat, it's a two-storey flat that I live in. I'm on ground floor, quite modern, 1980s were built. So I've got this sliding door. And this cat stares through my window at ground level. Now, Ronnie and Reggie are out. Now, Ronnie runs at the cat, and the cat runs off. Very much as they don't come near us, and they are big guinea pigs. I just wondered if anybody knew. I just thought they'd sit in a cage, be bored, give them some. And I'd say, they're looking at me now. You don't want to say what I'm talking about. I can see them looking.
Maybe they know you're talking about them. Stephen, in all seriousness, have they helped you get through lockdown?
Oh, well, believe it or not, yeah. Because I was a bit worried, just at the end of December, because I become really chesty and headaches and this and the other. But I just had my flu jab, and the doctor said it was just a reaction to the flu jab. So I'm all right now. I've had a scan thing, I've had the test, I'm absolutely all right. But I was feeling a bit low, a bit lonely. But I do go out. I mean, just a very short walk for me. My exercise is I can just walk over the bridge here and get on the beach, get wrapped up, and go for a walk on the beach, no matter what the weather is. You know, get a blast of fresh air and come back home again.
Yeah, and when you come back, are Ronnie and Reggie waiting for you?
Oh yeah, waiting. I've got a picture of them. Have you ever seen that really famous picture of the creators? It's just two of them.
Right. Yeah.
Reggie's at the back and Ronnie's at the front. Well, I've tried to put them in character and I've got a crack at it. And I tell you what, when I get my phone back, I'll try and send it to you.
That would be, I would honestly love to see that. You can you can tweet it at BBC 5 Live or just text it to the show 85058. Yeah. I would love to see that, Stephen. Listen, you've really cheered me up. I think you've cheered a lot of people up with your stories.
I mean, anybody else who wants to tell me about guinea pigs, I thought they were boring, but I've become addicted to them now.
You're addicted to guinea pigs. Can you do me a favour, Stephen? Would you be able to just, when you're off the phone, could you just give him a little pat on the head for me?
Just a minute. I'm just on my chair. Yeah, Reggie. Just a minute. I'm trying to get off the couch. Yeah.
There you go.
Reggie. Come here. That's the gate door you can open now.
I can hear it.
Yeah, that's it. He's just wrecked the house. Oh. Reggie, come here. Ronnie. Oh, Ronnie's trying to bite me. Well, this is,
I don't want you getting bit. Stephen, that's good to know. I'll let you get on with taking care of Ronnie and Reggie. Thank you so much. It has just gone 3:30. It's almost 3:31.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The BBC News on 5 Live now. The Japanese car maker Nissan says the post-Brexit trade deal has secured the long-term future of its plant in Sunderland. It will help to protect nearly 6,000 jobs there. Anyone who tests positive for COVID-19 in England could be paid £500 to self-isolate. It's among the suggestions listed in a leaked document from the Department of Health to encourage people with symptoms to get tested and stay home. On his first full day in office, President Biden has set out a national strategy to combat coronavirus. There'll be more production of vaccines, greater use of masks, as well as increased testing. And fans of James Bond have again been left waiting. The latest film, No Time to Die, has been pushed back for a third time now because of the coronavirus. It's now due out in October. It's time for the sport now with Paul Serres.
Burnley beat reigning champions Liverpool 1-0 at Anfield, condemning the champions to their first home Premier League loss since April 2017, a run of 69 matches. More from the BBC's football correspondent John Murray.
It's a shock result that confirms Liverpool have hit a bump in the road to defending their title. Jurgen Klopp left top scorer Salah on the bench. He and Firmino came on early in the second half, but Liverpool failed to score for a fourth successive league match. Origi missed a glorious chance for them late in the first half, smashing a shot against the crossbar. And Burnley's winning moment came from an 83rd minute penalty, the first they've been awarded this season, won and scored by Ashley Barnes, as Burnley lowered the champions' colours and won at Anfield for the first time since 1974.
Here's the Reds boss Jurgen Klopp on why his side is struggling in front of goal.
Yeah, it's decision making, that's clear. So in making in the right moment the wrong decision. So when you have the ball that much and are that often in the box. So we had 3 crosses in the box. We tried to find a free play, we didn't find it. Then about the movement in the box. There's always a football explanation for it. That's how it is.
Claret manager Sean Dyche was understandably delighted with the result and with the award of the penalty.
It's almost an impossibility that you can have that few penalties. So I was pleased to get one, and it was a penalty, in my opinion. I've seen it back. And he slotted it very well, because it's a nervous moment. You know, he's handled that very well. And then we've seen the game out well. So, look, as you started with the right term, it's a massive shift from the players. Very, very high-powered in the belief system of a side and a group of people who want to achieve, and I'm very pleased with it.
Golf, and Rory McIlroy is leading after the first round of the European Tour's season opener, the Abu Dhabi Championship. More from golf correspondent Ian Carter.
It was McIlroy's first competitive action since November's Masters, but the Northern Irishman says he took little time off in that down period. The extra practice and additional input from Tiger Woods' former coach Butch Harmon paid immediate dividends in a superb 64, which involves some inspired putting from McIlroy. He's one clear of Tyrrell Hatton. The later starters couldn't complete their rounds due to an earlier fog delay, and Justin Rose will resume 3 under par, 5 behind.
The second test match between England and Sri Lanka gets underway in Galle later. Cricket correspondent Jonathan Agnew looks ahead to the match.
Broad did an outstanding job in the first test, but you won't hear any complaints from him about missing this one. Rest and rotation are words we'll hear a lot during 2021, and given both Broad and Anderson hold genuine ambitions to be part of the Ashes later this year, they need to play and rest in equal amounts. Root said that Wood bowled as fast in the first test as he's ever seen him, and he gets another run out, while much of the focus will be on the openers, Sibley and Crawley, who scored just 23 runs between them in the first test.
There's full coverage of that second test on Test Match Special on 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC Sounds starting at 4:15 this morning. And that's the latest from BBC Sport.
I'm going to meet some new friends.
Get even more from CBeebies on BBC iPlayer.
Woof!
Home to hours of fun.
Hey, Ducky!
All in one safe place.
It's all gone quiet!
Whenever you want it.
I think it's time for Mr. Tumble.
With Hey Dougie, Bing, Something Special, Jojo and Gran Gran, and lots more.
We're ready, Gran Gran!
Entertain your little ones like nowhere else. CBeebies, available on BBC iPlayer.
The voice of the UK. This is 5 Live.
You're live on Radio 5 Live.
A huge goal!
Hey, listen.
Listen live on digital, online, smart speaker, or the BBC Sounds app.
You are listening to Mubin Azhar on The Nightclub. This is absolutely your show. Maybe you call all the time and you haven't heard my voice before because I'm sitting in for Dotton. Or maybe you've never called. Either way, this is your space. It's your nightclub. It's all about you and your opinions, your take on the world, what you've been doing right now. We've been asking what is getting you through these times. We've been talking about our pets and what is helping us. We've also been talking about the rollout of the vaccine and asking if it's fair. If you want to get involved in any of these conversations, call me 0808 590 9693. You can text me 85058. Let's go to Sarah Jane in Cambridge. Sarah Jane, welcome.
Hello, hi.
Hi. What do you make of how the vaccine is being rolled out and how different groups are being prioritised?
well, I'm very disappointed. This is something I spoke to Dotton before Christmas about this, and it's still an ongoing thing with my mum. So what's happened with her is she turned 84 on Monday, so she's in her 80s, and she is a very, very high vulnerability case because she has a condition called bronchiectasis. Which she's had since she was a very small girl. I spoke to Vanessa as well earlier in the week.
Oh, okay.
I'm frustrated. I can't actually do anything, so I keep just ringing up radio shows.
No, of course, if that helps. And I have to say happy birthday, happy 84th birthday to your mum.
This condition that she's had since she was a very small girl, which means she has to do something called tipping twice a day for half an hour each time. So an hour a day, ever since she was a very small girl. She's now 84. I grew up just knowing this is my mum, this is what she does. She has to turn herself upside down for half an hour twice a day to expel any fluids from her lungs. If she doesn't do that, then she's coughing more than she would be otherwise during the day and during the night.
That sounds really difficult. Sarah, what I can't get my head around is if she's just celebrated her 84th birthday, and it sounds like she most definitely has a pre-existing condition, then why is she not being called?
Well, I know. Okay, so I didn't push it initially, but just before Christmas, I found out that one of my friends' parents, who lives in the same area and goes to the same GP practice, I'm up in Cambridge now, but one of my old friends from Portsmouth that goes to the same practice, her mum, who's in her 70s. Done before Christmas, then they got back to me and said, well, obviously for patient confidentiality reasons, we can't look into this. We need your mum to sign a form to allow us to look into this on your behalf. My mum and my dad are both from the old school of, we don't want to kick up a fuss, we're never going to make a fuss, we'll just wait for things to happen. And so my mum refused to sign it. She's also got dementia, which doesn't help, and it's quite severe now. So they don't want to kick up a fuss, but here's me in the background trying to kick up a fuss for my mum and my dad. My dad's got asthma. He's 84 as well. There's nothing compared to what my mum's got, but they should both
Sarah Jane, I have to say, I think I certainly, and I think a lot of people listening will be able to relate to that feeling of just wanting to protect our parents, our grandparents, our loved ones, of course.
Everybody has that feeling, but my mum is so vulnerable. I'm not kicking up a fuss for my dad. He's got asthma, he's 84. I'm not kicking up a fuss for my dad. I'm kicking up a fuss for my mum because I know for a fact if she got this condition, she wouldn't stand a chance. She really wouldn't.
You will have seen, of course, you will have seen, it was reported really widely earlier today that there is a disparity as well in terms of people over the age of 80 who are being vaccinated in different parts of the UK. So the South, for example, in London, has a lower percentage of over 80s that have been vaccinated compared to areas further north. I know you're in Cambridge.
My parents are in Portsmouth, so I think they fall into that lower.
They fall into that category.
Coast,
Do you take any comfort? Sorry, go on.
Can I just come back? Can I just come back on that? The fact that this is the important fact that my friend's mum, who goes to the same GP practice, who is in her 70s. And who doesn't have any underlying health conditions, got vaccinated before Christmas.
That's quite astounding, isn't it?
Yeah.
That really is. Do you take any comfort in the fact that if this doesn't happen in the next couple of days, and they don't get that call in the next couple of days, then it is looking very, very, very likely that call will come in the next week or the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'm sure it will. But I still don't understand why. My friend's mum at the same GP practice got contacted.
Yeah, I understand, Sarah. I really do. Thanks for sharing. And listen, good luck with it. Please tell your mum I said happy birthday, and I hope she gets the vaccine really soon. Let's go to Natasha in Birmingham. Natasha, welcome. What do you make of the vaccine rollout?
To be honest, when we had the kids having all the vaccine, and Mr. Brown, he wouldn't have his kids have that done, and so.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Just say that again. Sorry.
Mr. Brown.
As in the former PM.
Yeah, former PM.
Right.
Wouldn't let his kids have like all the vaccines.
I really don't know if that's true. Actually.
Well, he didn't have it happen. So
Right,
the
I don't know if that's true.
Listen to me, please.
I am
All
listening.
this
I just don't know if that. I genuinely don't know if that's true. That's what I'm saying.
Now, this ages ago, years ago, but now the vaccine, I'd like to see this MP that give all this vaccine out to everyone. I'd like to see him have it himself.
I mean, Natasha, you will have seen, that lots of MPs have had the vaccine, and lots of politicians have, including Sadiq Khan, for example. He's been part of a big campaign. You'll be aware that in particular communities, certainly within the South Asian community, it's been reported that there's higher levels of suspicion. So they've gone out of their way to show that this is a good thing to do. Would you have more trust in the vaccine if you saw people in the public eye having it?
Yeah, it's the public that has thought all this out, that started it, and we've seen that like on the news and that. Then I'd love it.
Right, Natasha, thanks for your call. I mean, we've been talking about this. We've had a couple of calls tonight where people have expressed kind of concerns and they're not entirely sure about getting the vaccine. And I reiterate what I said earlier, and I echo the words of, I think we had a doctor, I think he was called Ben, a little bit earlier, an NHS doctor who just finished a shift. And he was saying that there is no two ways about it. The facts are really, really clear. The facts are that this vaccine is the way out of this pandemic. And so what someone might have read on Facebook or what someone's neighbour's friend might have told them about particular dangers, that is not the information we should be going to. There are reputable sources to go to for your information. Have that conversation with a medical professional. I'm not a medical professional. I am absolutely not, but I read and I get my news from the right place. Speak to your GP, speak to someone in the know, and get that vaccine. If we've heard from a lot of people today who are frustrated, understandably, because they either can't get their first dose or can't get their second dose of the vaccine. I understand that. To be in a position where you can get that vaccine and you're not doing it, I think is actually really irresponsible. So if you have the opportunity to get the vaccine, please do. That's my public service announcement for the night. Can we go to Martin in Ipswich? Welcome to the night shift.
Hello, Marvin.
How are you doing?
I'm just recovering from coronavirus. I've got a little bit of symptoms. I'm not going to go into this. Is boring.
No, it's all right. How are you feeling, Martin?
Well, I've got a little bit of eye pain from conjunctivitis, which apparently 3% of people get. Once they've had coronavirus, apparently 3% of people get it.
I had no idea.
Sorry?
I had no idea about the link to conjunctivitis.
I've got this horrendous eye pain, and I'm like, I'm blind, so I can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got this horrendous eye pain, and the doctor come out and said, you've got conjunctivitis. I looked it up on Google, there's a screen reader on my computer, so I don't need to see the screen. Mm-hmm. Apparently 3% of people who get coronavirus get conjunctivitis. So, yeah, that's not much fun.
See, learn something new every night. I didn't know that.
Well, the thing is, there's lots of different symptoms, things people get. For example, edema in the legs, they've got that as well. Mm-hmm. And apparently that is a massive thing with coronavirus. Apparently that's what it does. It puts massive water in your legs. Mm-hmm. And I've had that, and I'm currently walking around the house sort of trying to walk that off, as it were, and sort of massage and everything. You know,
of course,
tablets and everything.
Martin, I'm really glad you're on the mend. Do you know, kind of moving forward, one thing we do know about this virus is it is possible once you've had it, it is possible to have it again. Are you going to be eligible for the vaccine?
Well, no, I'm 42.
Right, so, okay. You're a young one.
I'm quite down the thing. What I originally found about was how virulent this and the virus is in their clothes, and then it's hanging around in the air in your house, close the door, yeah? Mm-hmm. It's hanging around in the air in your house, you can pick this thing up. And I think that's how I got it.
That's quite a stand. I mean, I know there's a lot of research that talks about the term they use is viral load, isn't it? So, for example, if someone coughs on you in the street, God forbid, that sounds horrible. But if they do that and they're infected, then and they've got a really significant viral load, and a lot of that virus is then transmitted. For example, this is pretty gross, but I'm saying it. For example, via their spit, it lands in your mouth, for example. Then you're much more likely to get it.
Even your eyes might be. It's not just your mouth. It's your eyes. It's your nose. Yeah, so you don't need to be anywhere near the person. If, for example, if someone goes down the corridor, happens to be breathing, you don't have to cough, happens to be breathing, and they're expelling the virus, especially the new variants.
Yeah.
Because they're so transmissible. And someone else, say a worker, walks down the same corridor, and the thing gets caught in their clothes. Because the thing lasts for like 72 hours. All you need is a bit of wind to pick that stuff off the clothes, blow it into the house, of course.
We've got to keep washing our hands, we've got to keep that distance. Sounds like you were shielding, we've got to keep doing that if we're in particularly vulnerable groups. So I'm just glad you're out of the other side. I know you're a young one as well, you're only 40 something, so I really hope you pass the worst of it, and thank you for your call. Let's go to Darren in Bradford. Darren, welcome. What is your take on how the vaccine is being rolled out and the different groups that are being prioritised?
I'd just like to say before we start, a big shout out to Ronnie and Reggie.
The guinea pigs, didn't they sound great?
No, I wish I had them to help me do it. But in all seriousness, I've got a heart condition myself, and when Bradford was on the first lockdown, I was admitted into hospital for 7 weeks. Now, my girlfriend is in her third year at university to be a nurse. So, whilst I was in hospital, as you know, Bradford's got a very, very high Asian population and a black population, which is, like you were saying earlier, they have overcrowded households and stuff like that.
Yeah, so quite often people within black and Asian communities are more likely to live in large households. That is absolutely true.
Yeah, in close proximity to each other. As I was in hospital, a lot of the people who was coming through, I got exposed to quite a few people who hadn't had the test and was waiting for the results. And then they'd moved them along into a different area of the hospital once they found out if there was positive or not. Now, being there a couple of weeks, I got talking to the staff and the healthcare assistants, and I could not believe that they did not even have a COVID test until they showed symptoms. Now, I think personally, the first people who should get this vaccination are the NHS healthcare and people who are in that job sector, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the age, colour, creed or anything, because if this government knows exactly what they're doing, which I don't think they do, because people are getting the first injection, and then the same, like the lady earlier was saying that she got told it was 12 weeks, then so long, and then it was 3 months or something like that. I don't think the government really know what they're doing, to be honest.
So you believe that NHS workers, frontline workers, they should be first in line?
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Darren, I think as well as over 80s and over 70s, we know there are different categories of people, and I think NHS workers do come within that group, as do care home workers. So does that give you a bit more confidence in the strategy?
It does, yeah. But how is the government rolling this out to them? You know, are they coming as a priority
workers are absolute, and I know this from personal experience. I've got a family member who works for the NHS. I know that she had her vaccine back in December. She's someone that's young but qualified because she is a frontline NHS worker. So I think when you were in hospital, perhaps that was when was that? Was it November, perhaps?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps that was prior to the rollout, but I can assure you, and I think this is a good thing actually, I really do agree with you, that I think NHS workers, I know NHS workers and frontline workers who work in care homes, for example, do meet that criteria and are being prioritised right now. I think that is, and I think we all agree that is a really good thing. Darren, thank you for your call, and give my love to Bradford. It's a place that I know very, very well and have very fond memories of and love going back to. I want to get in a couple of calls about pets. Darren just gave a shout out to Reggie and Ronnie, the guinea pigs we were hearing about earlier, because we've been asking if your pets are helping you get through this time. Let's go to Ben in Cheltenham. Hello, Ben. How are you doing?
Hello there. I'm okay, thank you. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Tell me about your pets.
We got 1 dog, 4 cats, 1 hamster and 4 veggies. Now they're all... No, I tell you what, having pets, they can be very funny sometimes. Well, a couple of weeks ago, just before Christmas, me and my friend went in the hamster room because the hamster's in a little bedroom, and I put the hamster in her carrier cage when I was cleaning the cage out and stuff. Anyway, after I cleaned the cage out, Poppy, the tiny little black cat, she decided to go inside the hamster cage. Luckily the hamster was in the carrier.
Oh, I was worried about where that was going.
And she decided to roll all in the clean sawdust. She had sawdust all on her, and it was just the way on how she got in there and started rolling all in the sawdust. And
Ben, it sounds... Listen, 1 dog, 4 cats, a hamster, and 4 budgies. You practically got an entire a family of animals living there. Have they helped you get through this time?
Yeah, because they're all so funny. Me and my friend sit down on the sofa. The dog will come and sit in between us. And the birds, if we're watching the telly, or if the telly's on, we've got to turn up the telly loudly because they all start chirping away, and the cats are funny as well. I did also used to have 2 gerbils. Well, this one day I went to go and check on the gerbils to see on how they were doing. Well, I went downstairs and I asked my friend who I lived with. I said, "Do gerbils eat gerbils?" She said, "What?"
No, Ben.
One of the gerbil, the other gerbil. I had to take the gerbil.
Ben, that's not the happy ending I was hoping for. I was hoping the story was going to have a lovely ending. I'm sorry one ate the other. It sounds like you've got your hands full with a lot of animals. Do they stay up? Are they listening to the radio right now?
My friend, she's got the radio on in her. Lynn and Kitty.
I'm glad you got to give them a shout out, Ben. Thank you for sharing. Let's go to Steve.
After the animals.
Oh, very good. You can give your friend a shout out as well. What's her name?
She's from Tina, my friend is.
Thank you.
And also it's her birthday next week.
Happy birthday to Tina, a week early. Ben, thank you for sharing. Let's go to Steve in Norfolk. Steve, welcome.
Hello.
Is your pet of choice helping you in this time? And what pet have you got?
Well, I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, a ferret, and 4 horses.
You've got...
And some chickens.
Okay, that's a whole farm worth of animals. That's quite amazing. Have you had these for a long time? You must have done.
Yes.
Very good. And do you spend a lot of time looking after them? Because something like a horse is not going to be low maintenance, of course.
No, but I'm disabled, so I don't work, so I have the time to spend with them.
You have the time. So in this period, in lockdown, I've heard a lot about people who've referenced kind of communicating with their animals and referring to the animals and their pets as their friends. Can you relate to that?
Yes. Particularly, my husband died 2 years ago.
Right.
And if it hadn't have been for my pets, I would have crumbled. But they kept me, and they're so loving and everything that they kept me going while I needed it.
Steve, you make it sound like they're family to you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they are family. Very much family.
That is really, really good to know. I mean, if people are having a really difficult time in this period, as lots of people are, do you think, once